First of all, Tarun, very big congratulations on this GMAT 695 for good score. So,
Thank
and it's
you.
a 100 percentile in Quant. It's a 94 percentile in verbal. That's pretty fantastic, actually. So, yeah, to give a context, let's just begin by you can tell me that little bit about yourself and what led you to start this GMAT journey and how you came to know about top 1%. And
Yeah,
just leading up to this point of the journey. Yeah, sure. I will stop this screen. 1 second.
got it, Anurag. So, I graduated from IIT Bombay in 2019. I ran my own startup for 1.5 year. Then I've been working in startups and a lot of high impact roles.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that a lot of leadership I've worked with had MBAs, and having an MBA opens up a lot of opportunities for you. And
Yeah.
also, while I had a lot of on-ground experience building projects and all, I was looking for a program which can concretize all the learnings, give it a structured approach, and help finalize everything for me in my mental mind maps.
Yeah.
And that is when I decided to take up GMAT preparation in February 24. I used some online resources, went through uh, online tutorials, GMAT Ninja, those sort of things, and
Mm-hmm.
GMAT Club. I gave my first attempt in July 24. I scored a 624. And I realized that after that attempt that I'm pretty good at quant. I scored about 94 percentile then. But my verbal and DI were not that great. I scored a 57 percentile in verbal and 54 percentile in DI.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that these two areas where I needed to double down and improve so that I get maximum return on my time invested.
Yeah.
Was talking to a few of my friends, and one of my friends from Delhi suggested that top 1% is one of great coaching centers. They have great testimonies, and that is when I decided to sign up on your website. I went through your process where I had a mock test. I think you give 7 questions each, right, in verbal
Yeah.
and quant. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
think I just got one or two correct, even in quant and verbal.
Mm-hmm.
And that is when I realized that while GMAT is with a new structure, it's similar to CAT, where there's a lot of time crunch and time pressure, but also there are a lot of trap questions, and you need to be really strong in your fundamentals. And then I decided to roll up for the online class structure, and I've seriously I think I rolled up for the August classes.
Mm-hmm.
Prepared hard for almost August, September, October, 3 months, and gave my November attempt.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
And okay, so initially when you joined Top 1%, you were struggling mainly with DI and anything called no specific
D and verbal.
DI and verbal. Okay, so can you tell me about which specific topic or content or the part of the topic of any of the conceptual way the things were taught that you felt really helped you in improvement in that particular area?
Yeah, I would like to focus on quant because that is where I've seen majority of my improvement. So I've
Uh-huh.
went from 57 percentile to 94 percentile
Yeah.
in quant. And I also prepared for CAT a few months ago, again on my own or using online resources. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a structured approach to either reading comprehension or critical reasoning questions. And that is the reason why I was making a lot of mistakes. And again, for me, the online resources didn't seem adequate enough. A lot of people were talking about a lot of different things. There was no standardized approach, and I couldn't get a solution to a particular question using one approach. And that is when Sandeep's Octave approach really helped me. I think in my final GMAT exam, I scored had 100% accuracy on reading comprehension. I had about 2 to 3 mistakes in critical reasonings.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the approach how of the study plan. That is, before classes I had pre-work where I had to go through a few questions, solve them on my own, understand what mistakes I've done,
Yeah.
do the theory, and then during class would explain questions, clear doubts, and then again pose the session. We used to have a lot of homework, go through this. That sort of helped me concretize the concepts in a structured manner, and it slowly gave me confidence to tackle practice questions as well and give sectional and mocks.
Got it. Got it.
And I was already strong in quant. I went from 94 percentile to 100 percentile.
Yeah.
And I knew that I just had to figure out the long tail topics on quant, that is probability, geometry, the very few off tail questions that
Mm-hmm.
long tail questions that come that I need to get them right to improve
Mm-hmm.
my percentile. And that is what I did. So I went through all the class questions. And when the time came up, I went through sectionals, did topic wise questions, and that sort of improved my accuracy in the long tail chapters too.
Okay, so you were getting those level of accuracy towards the end of your prep in quant, or you were making those silly 1 to 2 mistakes because a lot of even the people who are actually good at quant they end up making a lot of silly mistakes in GMAT because it's not because sometimes the question is not that difficult, but it's not testing very something scientific or something like that. But the question has been framed in such way that you might miss a certain detail or you might end up making thing in that particular scenario. Was that happening with you, or even that
Yeah.
particular aspect was
Uh,
a good thing for you?
If I started giving mocks about 5 to 6 weeks before my exam. So
Mm-hmm.
when I started, I was still making mistakes. They were in the range of 3 to 4 questions, but slowly towards the end of my final test, I was just making 1 or 2 questions wrong in quant, and I knew again our top 1% 1% mocks are difficult than the exam, and still I meticulously maintained a logbook, and I noted on the topics what mistakes I did. Good enough. I was not making a lot of silly calculation mistakes.
Yeah.
The conceptual mistakes, which I was able to again fine tune going through the logbook, and that sort of improved my quant percentile.
Got it, got it. And with RC also in specifically, were you struggling it with any on the initial page, on the initial phase? Because I'm guessing because you were preparing beforehand also, so you must the idea of just going through with an octave kind of a principle, it's not the most traditional kind of a scenario. So were you able to get that level of acceptance? Okay, I will scrap away my method that I've been following, and I will just start away with doing something which sounds pretty strange in the day for the beginning at least.
Yeah, to be honest, one thing I've done from the start is once my July attempt got done, right, I sat
Mm-hmm.
down and had few metrics in my mind, and I
Mm-hmm.
I maintained a meticulously a Google sheet where I tracked all my GMAT
Mm-hmm.
prep.
Yeah.
So what I've realized is my accuracy before joining top percentile was about 45 to 50% for
Mm-hmm.
both RC and CR.
Uh-huh.
And I realized that to get a good score, I need to get it up to 90 percentile, 90%, and if possible, 100. And once I started the top program, right? In the first week itself, when we started with reading comprehension, the big chunk of verbal section, I saw my accuracy go up from 50% to almost 75 to 80%, just
Mm-hmm.
going through the first 40 pages of the topic and
Got
solving the practice
it.
questions. I realized that this method had merit to it, so I needed validation too.
Yeah. I completely
And
resonate with your point. Yeah. The first pre-work itself is very heavy. I mean, for someone who has been doing previously, they will start seeing how different an RC can be solved. You start getting that, it's like your third eye opens, something like that. Yeah.
yeah, and you go through online resources, right? They say you use elimination method where you list on each option and then you keep striking them out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Sandeep comes back with a very valid point that in verbal you really shouldn't make notes. So
Yeah.
a lot of alterations. So I started using my fingers as options and those sort
Okay.
of things. But the reading comprehensions, once I started using Octave, it really helped. I
Mhm.
realized that this method has merit and it's all about me practicing and doubling down on this. That is what I did. And once I was done with reading comprehensions, I went through again the critical reasoning resources, going through the text, the basics of fundamentals.
Got it.
I again saw my accuracy improve even in critical reasoning up to 80%, but I was facing a lot of issues with assumption and inference questions. So
Okay.
that is when I revisited the video lectures, practiced them a lot, and doubled on. I also did a lot of topic wise practice. So whenever I gave sectionals or mocks, I maintained a logbook and figured out which topics I was making common mistakes. The strength and weakening questions have slowly improved over time, but
Hmm.
assumption and inference was something that were difficult for me to crack, and I started doubling down on them. Of again 5 to 6 weeks before my exam when I started doing mocks and realized those were my weak points.
Were you also struggling with DI, or it was just a bit of a practice thing that you once started doing a lot of practice, it automatically improved? Or
Yeah, so with DI, I trusted Sandeep's approach that if I crack verbal and quant, it becomes easy.
yeah.
I definitely saw that my original percentile was 54. Even in mocks, I was scoring about 82, 83. I'm talking about the score, not the percentile.
Yeah.
The scale score about 80 to 83.
Hmm.
Uh, One thing I'd suggest to candidates is DI is a practice first topic. No matter how good your fundamentals
Yeah.
are, for DI, I would suggest start with all the resources that top provides. Go through all the sectionals, go through mocks, and just do time practice. That's the only way you can improve. You'll make a lot of mistakes in the start. You'll make a lot of silly mistakes. And once you go through the classes, you'll also understand the special approaches for MSR questions, DS
Yeah.
questions. DS, I used to face a lot of trouble in DS because again, it's one of the favorite GMAT trap questions, and Sandeep's approach really helped me.
Hmm.
And once I gained confidence in DS, I realized data insights is also one topic that I can conquer with given practice, and I did it. Compared to the three sections, DI was for me, I realized still tougher and the weakest section of all.
Okay.
So in the last 3 weeks, I just focused on DI, saw a lot of practice questions, a
Yeah.
lot of materials, and that is how I build my confidence in this.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
And you were doing this entire prep with your work. So how were you managing time? Just give a general idea of how much amount of dedicated time you were giving for the GMAT on the weekdays and weekends.
Yeah. So this being my second attempt, I realized that also with me gaining confidence in this approach, right? I realized that if I just press the pedal and put a lot of effort to this, I could get a good score. So I used to study for 1 hour in the morning and then 1.5 hour at night during weekdays. I used to wake up around 5:36, study for an hour, get ready, go to office, and then once I come back, after dinner, I study for 1.5 hour and then go back to sleep. Again, I primarily followed the study plan that had a very structured approach where they covered the fundamentals first and then went to difficult topics, and that really helped. I didn't really have to spend a lot of time and research on figuring out
Yeah.
what I needed to read and what I needed to understand or solve, given the hectic work schedule, working in a startup and all those things. And during my weekends, for the first few weekends when I was just preparing, I used to study for 4-5 hours. And once that got completed, every week I used to give one mock, if possible, two mocks towards the end, and analyze the mocks for 1.5 hour more, understand why I did a mistake, if it's a silly mistake, understand those reasons, and then go back during the week to fixing those mistakes. Yeah.
Okay. In general, how many number of mocks that you were able to give?
I think I've given all the mocks on top total. I think there are about 8 mocks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've given all the 8 mocks of the top portal. I exhausted my 2 free mocks from the GMAT during my first
Yeah.
attempt, but this helped, yeah.
Yeah, and that's pretty much
Well,
advice, I would say. I mean, yeah.
yeah, one suggestion I would give to all the candidates is uh, spend about 1 month in preparation, but give as much as time possible for mocks and time practice. That's the only way you're gonna crack a exam like GMAT. If you just start 2-3 weeks before the exam, I think your probability of success are really low compared to if you give time practice and mocks a large chunk of time.
Yeah, I mean, it's been told, but sometimes people uh, misinterpret it that the actual improvement starts after your first mock itself. Till
Yeah,
that
even
particular point of time, you're just learning new things and gaining new things. So it's,
yeah, I think it's a big mental block, and a lot of people have this perfectionist mentality where they want to complete everything and then
yeah.
give mock so that they can get good score. But even I realized it when I gave the first mock is they're a very good reflection of where you stand and your conceptual understanding. Even though you have not covered all the practice questions and all, but if you have understanding of the concepts, right, start with the mocks and you'll understand at least key which areas are your weak points, and then you can double down on your biggest weak areas to improve your return on investment, because everyone is a working professional and they have to be
Yeah,
very careful about the time they allocate.
of course, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So in general, if someone is definitely giving close to 3 hours on a weekend, weekdays, and 5 to 6 hours on a weekend, what would you say that this could be the timeline that you should be looking at? That this could be a general timeline and on an average basis that people can take to give an exam, because it varies a lot. We used to say it's 3 months, now it's somewhere coming somewhere. Some students getting in 2 months, some students getting in 6 months. So what would you say?
It really depends upon the candidate. I- because I had abilities in my trust in my
Yeah.
quant abilities,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And I sort of had a path already carved out with the top program. It took me almost 2.5 months. That is about 8 to 10 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think 3 months, as the sir suggests, should be ideal and good enough if you follow the timelines and complete the sessions to the dot.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, 8 to 10 weeks is a really good time, and I would suggest giving the first 4 to 5 weeks in understanding the concepts, but the remaining 5 to 6 weeks you should definitely start giving mock sections and
Yeah.
improving yourself. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Perfect. Yeah, coming on to the exam experience, how was your exam experience? Did you give it in the center itself or online? Was it an online exam?
No, I went to the test center. I
Okay,
had
so,
early
so how
morning.
was the entire experience? Like, also, what was your sequence, and were there any surprises there involved?
I mean, I was a bit nervous during the start of the exam. I had the colds, but once the exam started, I was in my zone. And I think one major improvement in my test scores has been the exam order. So earlier, I used to give DI first, then verbal, and then quad. My reasoning was I'd give the toughest section first
Mm-hmm.
when I had the most mental bandwidth. Then
Yeah.
I do the second toughest, and then the easiest one when I really don't, when
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost exhausted.
Yeah.
What I've realized is because DI being my toughest subject, whenever I made mistakes or I felt that that particular section went terribly wrong, I didn't have enough confidence in me to sustain myself through the other two sections, and that impacted my score even more. So
Mm-hmm.
while talking to my friends, I realized that the best approach for me was to give quant first, so that it doesn't matter what exam you take, the first 1 hour it takes you time to get into your zone and your concentration levels to peak. So quant being my easy section, the first 45 minutes helped me get into the zone. Then I gave my DI, which was the toughest section when I was already in that highly concentrated state.
Yeah.
Then take a 10 minutes break, and then I give DI, which was a make or break section for me. And this sort of really worked out well. I experimented with the exam, the order of these subjects
Mm-hmm.
for almost 2-3 weeks, and then 3 weeks before the exam, I finalized on this approach, and that's paid off. I During the exam day, the quant section really went well. I thought I got one question wrong because I had to approximate an answer.
Mhm.
But EI section went really bad according to my standards. I generally, as I've mentioned, I scored about 80 to 83 in the mocks, but on the final exam, I got 79.
Okay.
I spent a lot of time on unnecessary questions, and towards the end, I rushed through things, and I realized I made a mistake. So that break really came handy. I took a washroom break, just made sure that I relaxed for the 10 minutes, and I wanted to be again fully concentrated on verbal because I knew that if I could crack this section again, I could end up with a very good percentile, and that is what happened. Verbal, I followed the fundamentals, the octaves to the dot. I didn't have any time crunch, and yeah, I did it like I would do it in a practice session, and
Right.
things worked out well. So one suggestion I have for other candidates is when you're practicing, practice like you're writing a test. Always uh, make it a time practice. It doesn't have to be a mock, even if you're solving practice questions, right? Set a timer for 45 minutes and solve as many questions as you can.
Yeah.
And
That's very good thing. I mean,
distractions, yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Practice like it's an exam, and when you're writing an exam, treat it like a practice and don't put
Exactly.
a lot of pressure
Exactly.
on yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I
That
understand.
really helps.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, every time you practice, you have to take that mental bandwidth of pressure that I have to finish this question somehow within this whatever time is remaining. I cannot be flexible with it as of now. I can check on later on whatever the solution is, but I cannot compromise it with the timer as of now. So you have to take that pressure, get used to the idea of having that consciousness, even of those panic kind of seconds. So yeah.
Uh, I know Sandeep sir talks about it a lot in the practice sessions too, but I realized it when I watched one of your other success stories.
Hmm.
One candidate talked about having a stopwatch, which he used to carry to office and all that. Then I bought a small stopwatch too, and I've been using that to
Excellent.
practice, and I really saw that it improved my verbal scores a lot. So I used to put a timer, so especially with questions of CR questions that I used to
Hmm.
have a hard stop of 2.5 minutes. Doing time practice really elevates your accuracy and other bits to an
Hmm.
extent.
Yeah. You kind of get used to the idea of being in a pressure situation almost all the time. So
Yeah.
you're not getting surprised in any manner. Yeah. So for you also, in terms of content, was any of the question out of the blue, or it was something of it unfamiliar compared to what you have practiced previously in also, in any of the sections, or it was a very similar thing what you have compared to what you have been practicing till now?
I think in DI questions, I had a difficult MSR question that really, which I should have understood that it was a lengthier question and not
Mm-hmm.
spent a lot of time. That didn't happen in other top mocks.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, there were no surprises. The quant was very similar to the top level, and verbal was also very similar to the top mocks.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Okay. Noted. Yeah. Finally, any specific? I mean, you have already given a lot of do's and don'ts, but just to end with it, do you have any specific suggestions that a person who's going to be studying for GMAT, maybe after watching this video or even actually studying right now, what would you suggest? And any specific do's and don'ts that this person should do or not?
I would just summarize what I've talked over this session.
Uh-huh.
So the first thing is, which also Sandeep sir really nails on, is please maintain an error log.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't understand and quantify the areas of improvement, you really can't improve in those. So you need to
Yeah.
understand where your weaknesses are, where your strengths are, and then strategically plan on them. That is where the error logs really come and help. I would highly suggest that if you can possible, start practice and mocks as soon as you can, even while you're learning the fundamentals. That is two. And the third thing which really worked out in my favor is, and really led to 20-30 point improvement, is my test order.
Mm-hmm.
So experiment, talk to people, figure out what works for you the best, and once you figure out a order that works for you the best, double down on it.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice pointers. Okay. I will actually note some of them down for myself. Yeah. And yeah, coming on to your journey, as of now, you have already applied to round two. And what is the plan that you're looking at, if you would like to share?
Yeah, so I've applied to a few abroad schools and also at ISB. I have an
Mm-hmm.
attempt from ISB. I'm waiting to know the decision from other schools and also have another career opportunity. So
Uh-huh.
debating, given all the macroeconomic situations,
Uh-huh.
immigration issues, other countries, I'm just debating what to go about it, but haven't made a
Yeah.
final decision yet.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I mean, it's a good thing to be actually when you have a school and you have sorted like, okay, I can start my GMAT whenever I want to. I can start my MBA whenever I want to. I have a good amount
Yeah.
of, I have a good score. I can figure it out. The rest part of it, which is much more complicated, can be some times. Yeah.
Yeah, to be very honest, top really helped me in this particular aspect because I've tried giving CAT also. I've prepared GMAT on my own. Having a good test scores really helps you set apart your applications, your college applications.
Yeah.
And given that GMAT is also valid for 5 years, it gives you a lot of flexibility in planning your future too. And
Mm-hmm.
it
Yeah.
just opens up a lot of different doors for you, man.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think around two deadlines are in March itself only. So yeah, I guess all the best for all the results that you're waiting for.
And
And
yeah,
keep us posted regarding whatever decision you make. I mean, you have really a multiple choices going for the career thing, ISB or different colleges. So it's really a multiple choice question. But do let us know regarding whatever it is. Yeah. And thank you for your time, Tarun. And this has been lovely talking to you. And
same
have a good
here,
evening. One more time, congratulations on the school. I know it's been a long, but you must get used to idea of hearing this. So congratulations on a 98 percentile of the GMAT and all the best for everything else. And keep us
thank
posted.
you, Anurag. Yeah, yeah. And it is all thanks to Sandeep sir and the top program, the study plan. I've been talking to a lot of my friends who have been planning on giving GMAT and I've been recommending top. So I really hope other people also succeed. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, sure, of course.
Thank you. Thanks for your
Okay,
time.
bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.